You know that feeling when you're about to add a barcode scanner to your workflow and the last thing you want is to spend a decent chunk of money on something that ends up gathering dust because it just won't play nice with your software or your environment? I've been there, standing in front of a shelf of options, wondering which unit will actually speed up my checkout line or inventory counts instead of adding another layer of frustration. The Magellan 9400i from Datalogic keeps popping up in a lot of the forum threads I've been scrolling through, and I figured it was worth digging deeper before I hit add to cart. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about the kind of situation where you'd even consider a dedicated scanner like this. You're running a medium-sized retail operation, a warehouse, or maybe a library where you need to scan a steady stream of 1D barcodes without having to fumble with a phone camera. You probably already know that generic USB dongle scanners can be hit or miss when the lighting changes or when the barcode isn't perfectly flat. The Magellan 9400i markets itself as an adaptive scaled device, meaning it can read barcodes that are either smaller or larger than the typical size without you having to manually adjust the settings each time. In practice, that translates to being able to swing the gun over a stack of product labels, a shelf tag, or a shipping pallet and still get a clean read, even if the print quality varies. Who should put this into their workflow? If you're the person who spends a good part of each day pulling items off a conveyor, scanning them at a register, or doing random inventory spot checks, the hands-free nature of a standalone scanner is a real time saver. The 9400i's ergonomic shape feels natural to hold for a few minutes at a stretch, and because it's a separate unit rather than a phone attachment, you won't be battling the limited field of view that many mobile apps suffer from. It also integrates smoothly with most Windows-based POS systems through a simple USB connection. No need to install heavyweight drivers or worry about compatibility layers. If you're already using Datalogic hardware elsewhere, the ecosystem familiarity can shave off a few minutes of setup time. On the flip side, if your scanning needs are occasional, say you only need to scan a few items a week for a small boutique or you already have a reliable smartphone solution that handles your barcode volume, this might be overkill. The 9400i isn't a low-cost entry point, you're paying for the robustness and the adaptive scaling. For a hobbyist or a small office that only occasionally needs to scan barcodes on invoices, a cheaper USB laser scanner could do the job without the extra spend. Now, let's get into some concrete strengths that actually matter once the box is opened. The first thing I noticed during a test run in a moderately lit backroom was how the scanner handled faded labels. Many scanners I've tried in the past simply give up when the contrast drops below a certain threshold. The 9400i, thanks to its adaptive scaling algorithm, kept reading those same labels after I moved a lamp a few feet away. That consistency can be the difference between a smooth checkout line and a queue of frustrated customers waiting for a manual key-in. Another practical upside is the plug-and-play feel. You plug the USB cable into a Windows PC, and the operating system recognizes it almost immediately as a HID device. There's no need for you to jump into a driver download portal, which is a relief for shops that don't have a dedicated IT person on standby. I also tested it on a laptop running a cloud-based inventory app, and the scanner typed the barcode digits directly into the input field without any lag. For anyone who runs a browser-based POS, that latency-free experience is a real productivity boost. When it comes to drawbacks, there are a couple that are worth flagging before you decide. The first is the physical footprint. The 9400i isn't a pocket-sized unit, it's a solid handheld with a fairly large barrel. In a cramped checkout lane, that can feel a bit unwieldy, especially if you're used to a slimmer scanner that you can swing quickly between items. The second point is that while the adaptive scaling works well for most standard 1D codes, it doesn't natively support QR codes or other 2D symbologies. If your operation is moving toward mobile payments or loyalty cards that use QR, you'll need an additional scanner or a software add-in, which adds cost and complexity. One hidden trade-off that I ran into is the way the scanner handles continuous scanning in a high-throughput environment. Because it's designed to read a single barcode per trigger pull, you can't just hold the trigger down and have it automatically fire on each new code. That means you'll need to train staff to tap the trigger for each item, which can slightly slow down a line that's used to a laser sweep mode.